Hi, very good afternoon. Konnichiwa. I guess this is the only word I know in Japanese for the time being. Anyway, a very quick introduction about myself. My name is Andy, and I have about 15 years of experience in Asia. I've provided advisory for local companies, public companies as well. I'm a very true believer in startups. In Singapore, I'm more known to be active in the healthcare scene. And how I get myself into this blockchain industry is that we had a very, very deep talk one day with a committee of people. Maybe everyone is in the healthcare. We talk about fake goods, fake pharmaceutical goods in Asia, and then the solution moving forward is actually blockchain. So there I am, and I'm also very active in non-profit organizations, and I have some friends who I've known for more than 10 years here as well. So I used to be from a non-profit think tank, and I continue to give my services to the society. Anyway, let me say this phrase. I always believe that blockchain is an enabler to create growth. It will impact and redefine economies. This is how we believe at Infinity. And what Infinity will do, we want to make a difference in the global supply chain. We want to make a big impact. So let me quickly run through a few more slides with you on how we view the whole supply chain. So first of all, we talk about some problems in supply chain. If you look at the chart from supplier all the way to the consumer, there are actually a lot of gaps. Gaps in communication. There's a very big gap in traceability, efficiency, and also the reliability of how the whole supply chain is running right now. So these are very common problems, from supplier to consumer, and also within the logistics realm. Is very complicated. So these are the big problems that we face. And then how the current supply chain problems destroy many industries, for example, like food. I give you these statistics. More than 10% of the GDP. Most people are not aware of what they put inside their body. So these are some of the current concerns that we have. From again, you look at the chart from farming all the way to the consumer. We talk about the same problems in terms of food security. We talk about how things are not being so transparent in the current industry. And then, again, some statistics from the World Health Organization is that 760 million people each year are being affected by contaminated food, and 420,000 die as a result. So these are very alarming figures that most of us may not notice, but these are some things that are really happening. I was told during one of our research that this brand, which is called Chipotle, is a very famous American chain dealing with fast food, tacos, and so forth. Had a good history, and they had about 2,000 locations. So during one of the incidents in 2015, they created a very big impact on their brand. They closed down about 43 of their restaurants in US, and then the stock price came down by 46% in 3 months. This is, again, something very serious. And then FDA and the Center of Disease Control investigated the whole incident, and then they realized that nothing has been identified as a root cause. They can't track, and they believe it came from a contaminated beef. So the question came about, as in, why was it so important to find the root cause of this whole incident? And then what exactly happened in this food supply chain? Nobody knows. And again, the three big words came about: transparency, traceability, and data reliability. Those are all not there, when they really need it. So how can we help? How can Infinity help? Well, if you look at Infinity, it's a link plus Infinity. We are committed to build a reliable and traceable anti-counterfeiting supply chain blockchain technology. Look at the big chart. How can blockchain solve this problem? Again, if you look at the chart, which is a bit nicer right now, is we provide better inventory management. We reach out to security data that cannot be changed. When we talk about blockchain, so when you can't change it, there's lesser problem in terms of error. And then if you look at the transparency part, we can trace right now. We can trace using blockchain, and each block has got its purpose. So if you look at this all the way against from supplier all the way to consumer, all the gaps will be covered because of what we can do with Infinity and with our technology. So how can we solve this? If you look at the chart again, from the butcher all the way to the retailer and perhaps to this retailer, there are always gaps. So if you look at a smart contract, taking beef as an example, is this beef from an authorized butcher? Is this from an authorized processor? And then what are the conditions of this whole works of how the beef is being cut, when is the expiry date, and so forth? If we can put everything on the chain, then things will be a lot better. When we talk about food security, that can be solved, partially solved maybe, but this is what we can do. So in order to check the beef authenticity, we scan and then we make sure that it goes through the whole smart contract verification process. So right from the farm, we track. Right from the farm, we record everything down. Everything from A to Z, and then all the way to where you eat, have your meal, So we talk about the butcher time, the processing time, the shipping time, the storage, temperature, the time of storage, and who handled the beef, example. All the way to the cooking time, the shelf life, and so forth, all of which are very critical information. And with all the different data, we can know our food better, we can know what we consume. And some people will say that it's going to be very time consuming, but well, this is part and parcel of how we can gather all the data to ensure that food security is there. So why Infinity blockchain solution? We have the most advanced anti-counterfeit systems. We gain better control of the entire supply chain, like what I mentioned. There's a maintenance of MOE is very low. It's relatively low cost. We drive more revenue, and at the end, what we want to do is to create more productivity. If you have better productivity, better quality food, things will be a lot better. Not like what we faced in the past. And I would like to say that Infinity's system is actually the future. So you look at this from our app, from a manufacturer standpoint, it's a very simple process. We upload, create a code, confirm the product, and then we wait for the carrier to pick up. All these are being tracked. Whether it's the expiry date, the batch number, the upload address, the delivery, everything is being tracked. Of course, there's a very long list, but this is the interface that is just at a glance. If you look at the logistics portion, again, the pickup, the update of logistics status, and then the package arrival. These are also tracked and integrated into the whole system. And finally, from the retailer portion, again, they verify, they check the product, and then they confirm the product has been sold. This is a very important process. Right now, Well, you can scan based on the SKU, a common barcode. But when we talk about very unique code for each and every product, you can then trace and know where your product has gone to. And of course, you look at it from a consumer end, they scan and they know that this is a real product. If you look at the portion there's an unsold portion, because each QR code can only be scanned once, only once. So with that, when they scan, they will know that this product is real, not real, or are they being recognized. So this is a very important process that most of the retailers are coming to us to ask for more, how we can do better, how we can help their consumer. This is just a very brief short, but this is to let everyone understand more on how we work. And then, of course, how we want to incentivize the whole ecosystem. We have our LFT, which is a short form for Infinity Token. So each participation in the network of industry will be incentivized. And then what can you do with the LFT? We exchange this for Infinity services, products, and then we trade on the platform. And then why is it important? Because it will encourage more participants, and we are able to grow the scale of businesses a lot faster using networks, business networks. So the whole process will be incentivized. You do things for us, we give you the token. If you do marketing things for us, we provide you tokens. And if you do some business collaboration, we will give you tokens. So we believe that blockchain alone is not enough. Blockchain is the buzzword right now, but it's not enough. So how we combine is that we have blockchain to verify the data. Then we have IoT, where we do a lot of gathering of data, verify again. And then we have AI to make decisions better. And then last but not least, this will be a new value. This will become a new value and a new way of doing business in the world. So you look at this whole cycle. It's a must-have in today's society, and this is a must-have for blockchain. If we don't have all these things in place, we are just back to the current, very traditional way of getting data and so forth. It's not going to work. We have to change the world with all these things combined. But of course, it's a process. Right now we may only be at the blockchain level, and together with my partners, we are already doing deep tech learning in this US. So we are solving part by part, and we will solve them. Trust me. So let me share with you a video on how we position ourselves.
According to the new report by the OECD and the EU's Intellectual Property Office, the global trade in fake goods is worth nearly $500 billion a year and growing. Companies are constantly facing the threat of counterfeiting, as it is not only affecting their revenue, but also reputational damages to their brand. Companies do not recover their research and development investments due to these losses, thus influencing their potential to create impactful products in the future. Counterfeiting produces knockoffs that endanger lives, pharmaceuticals that make people sick, toys that harm children, and medical instruments that deliver false readings. These put consumers at risk, and certain products can cause serious health risks or even be fatal. What will Infinity do? First of all, we must understand that procurement, manufacturing, and logistics are the three core elements in supply chain management. Data as a bridge between the three cores. So the credibility, transparency, and security of data are the most important factors in improving the efficiency and reducing costs in supply chain. Infinity blockchain technology creates a transparent, non-tampered, traceable, and anti-counterfeiting system. We solve total supply chain issues right from the start, from production to end consumer. The process is recorded, accounted, trusted, and transparent. Source tracking is only just the start. Our ultimate goal is to build a new sustainable supply chain ecosystem. That is what Infinity is doing. Infinity links to unlimited possibilities.
So we have very big goals. We have ongoing projects, like what I have mentioned in other talks and conferences. We do real things. We sign real MOUs with the idea and with the intention of running the whole business together. So yes, these are some of the current projects that we are doing, and some are really in the works. Singapore, we look at some pharmaceutical company. In Greater China, we look at wine. Wine, there's a lot of fake wine in the world. I was told that 20% of it are fake. So we are taking a lot of time in that industry. In Taiwan, we have really signed one of the biggest tobacco company. I always tell my team, smoking is really bad. But if you smoke the bad thing, the fake things, it's even worse, right? So these are one of the things that we are working on. Korea, cosmetics. Then globally, we intend to have coffee as one of the reach out to all the different cafes, reach out to the retailers and so forth. So that's coffee. And then we hope to work with a government or maybe government organization to look at the infinity mark. And this is just the very beginning, very, very beginning. So again, just a very quick recap. If you look at most of the projects who are dealing with blockchain, supply chain, or maybe logistics, they are only looking at a very tiny bit. But what we can do right now is we want to track right from the beginning the raw material. Raw material to factory, to transportation, to retailer, all the way to the last green tab there will be the recycling portion. This is a very big vision. We need a lot of different partners to come together and make this work for everybody. So this is our roadmap. So right now we are at this Q2 where we are doing all the different testing. But the journey is very long. The journey is very, very long. We hope to quicken the whole process by having more partners together. And this will be an ongoing process as well. We had good media exposure. Last week we were on NBC, and then the previous week we were on Korea IT Times. We had very exclusive interviews, and these are just some of them. So we had this MOU signing in Singapore with law firm, investment companies, bank, and again, I like to say this is again just the very, very beginning. So this happened in May, and then in August and September we will do more of this. So just a recap on some of the roadshow that we are doing. So in Korea we did one in Infinity Hub, we did one in Beijing. We signed our MOU with an AI company. We were in Tokyo, and then Vietnam, and then in Singapore we signed MOU. Korea, and more to come in UK as well. So we are going to do another one in UK. So these are some of the images. So the next stop will be in London. We will sign more MOUs. We are really talking with a retailer in London, see how we could work together, make everyone on the chain. And just really thank you for everyone for your time today. That's my email address, and then that's my Skype. You can add me if you have any other questions. Of course, you can click on our link. And thank you.